Hi, my name is Terry, and you're watching Terry Tells the Story. Today, we're talking about Milton Hershey, the Orphan's Emperor. In autumn of 1918, a man sat alone at a quiet office in Pennsylvania and committed an act of professional suicide. Without a press release, without a gala, and without the craving for headlines or attention, Milton Hershey signed a document that stripped him of his own crown. He deseated himself of his empire, the land, the factories, the patents, and the profits, and handed the keys to a group of children who had no last names. The world knows the silver-wrapped bar. They know the name. But they don't know the man who spent his life chasing a ghost, only to find his soul in the eyes of 1,000 fatherless boys. Today we step behind the sugar and the steel to find the true architect of the sweetest place on earth. Milton Hershey was born in 1857 in a small farmhouse in central Pennsylvania. His father, Henry Hershey, was a man who moved the family constantly, bouncing between failed business schemes and get-rich-quick opportunities that never panned out. Because of this, Milton's formal education ended in the fourth grade. At 14, he was an apprentice to a printer, but he hated that job. This led to him being fired. He then found a job with a confectioner in Lancaster, and that is where he found his trade. In 1876, at just 19 years old, Milton moved to Philadelphia to open his own candy shop. He worked for 6 years, 18 hours a day, but the business just couldn't survive. Ultimately, he was forced to close its doors. Following this failure, he moved west to join his father in Denver. There, he had to start from the bottom all over again. He worked for a caramel maker and learned a critical detail. Fresh milk made the caramels last longer. He tried to start businesses in Chicago, New Orleans, and then a large-scale shop in New York City, but every single one of them went bankrupt. By the time he moved back to his family's farm in 1886, he was nearly 30 years old. He arrived with nothing but crates of sugar and cooking equipment. Back in Lancaster, Milton started the Lancaster Caramel Company. He was essentially a one-man operation, cooking the candy at night and selling it from a pushcart during the day. His luck changed when a British candy importer tasted his Crystal A caramel. The importer was so impressed by the quality that he placed a massive order for exportation to England. With that order, Milton secured a bank loan, expanded his staff, and within a few years, the Lancaster Caramel Company became one of the leading candy manufacturers in the United States, employing over 1,300 people. Milton was finally a wealthy man. In 1893, Milton attended the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. While most people were looking at the new electrical displays, Milton was focused on a German chocolate pressing machine. At that time, chocolate was a niche product, expensive and mostly produced in Switzerland. Milton bought the machinery right off the floor and had it shipped back to Lancaster. He began experimenting with coating his caramels in chocolate, but he quickly became obsessed with the chocolate itself. In 1900, he made a decision that shocked his partners. He sold the Lancaster Caramel Company for $1 million. He kept the rights to make chocolate and moved back to his birthplace in Dairy Church. There was nothing there but cornfields and dairy cows, but Milton knew he needed a massive, constant supply of fresh milk to make milk chocolate on a scale that the world had never seen before. From 1903 to 1905, Milton Hershey was focused on two things: building the world's largest chocolate factory and finding a formula for milk chocolate that would stay fresh on a shelf. He spent months in a small testing kitchen, failing repeatedly until he developed what we now call the Hershey process. As the factory rose out of the cornfields, he realized his workers would need a place to live. Unlike other industrial titans who built company towns to exploit workers, Hershey built a real community. He laid out a grid of streets named Chocolate and Cocoa Avenue. He built houses with modern plumbing and electricity, a department store, a bank, and a library. He even built a trolley system so people from nearby towns could get to work easily. Milton married Catherine Sweeney in 1898. They were wealthy and successful, but they were unable to have children of their own. In 1909, they decided to use their land and money to open the Hershey Industrial School for orphan boys. They wanted to provide the education and stability that Milton never had as a child. In 1915, Catherine passed away. 3 years later, in 1918, Milton Hershey did something virtually unheard of in American business. He sat down and signed a legal document that transferred the bulk of his wealth, including his controlling interest in the Hershey Chocolate Company, into a trust for the school. He didn't announce this to the public. He continued to run the company as a manager, but he no longer technically owned it. The school did. During the Great Depression, while other factories were laying people off, Milton did the opposite. He started a massive construction project to keep the town's men employed. He built a grand hotel, a community center, a stadium, and a new office building. He said, "We have about 600 construction workers. If I don't provide work for them, they'll have to find it elsewhere." He stayed active in the business until his death in 1945, at the age of 88. When he died, the world finally realized the scale of what he had done. Because of what he did in 1918, the Milton Hershey School became one of the wealthiest schools in the world. Today, it provides a full education, housing, and healthcare to over 2,000 students, all funded by the profits of the chocolate company he built. So, the Spanish I'm going to be teaching you today is Todavía hay gente buena en el mundo. Todavía hay gente buena en el mundo. And what that means is, are there still good people in the world? If you like this video, or you learned something new, drop a like down below. If you have a specific topic that you'd like to see me cover, drop me a comment. And if you'd like to support this work that I do, there'll be a link to the Cashapp in the description box below. We'll see you next time.